Hello everyone, welcome to this new video. Today I'm gonna tackle a subject I haven't seen much on YouTube, which is mistakes. What I mean by mistakes is just like things we've all done during our musical journey that were probably not a good thing. So I'll give you 20 mistakes and 20 tips on how to avoid them so that you can maybe have an easier musical journey than I had. Before we go any further, I just want to remind you that I'm live on Twitch every Saturday, 11 AM CET. The link is in the description and also you can find the name on the screen. Find me there to share some of your experience and join me for my musical production session, like tutorials or just me working on my music. So yeah, mistake. We've all made some of them. And if I look at the list I have here, I made probably most of them. At some point I've made all of these, I think. So yeah, I will give you some tips about this and the way I see things now, which can maybe help you. And also, if you have some experience to share, you can do that in the comments and yeah, I'll read them and maybe pin the best ones so that other people can also see them. So the very first mistake I've made, and I've seen a lot of on the internet like Reddit or other groups on some different socials, is thinking you need the best equipment to be able to make music. Well, while I thought that when I first started, like, yeah, I do not have this pair of monitors or this very specific pair of headphones, I cannot make good music. While at some point it might be true, like you cannot reach professional level just using your laptop speakers, you do not need the best equipment to start making music. You can start just with a computer, a pair of decent headphones, like even the one you use like to take the bus, the train or whatever, and a DAW. That's all you need. Nothing more. Just need that to start. Once you're started with that, you can start investing a bit more with time and as you progress in your musical journey. But you do not need much more than just a good computer and a pair of headphones. That's all you need. No need for monitors, no need for like very expensive stuff like $500 headphones. You can start with just the pair of headphones you have, the computer you have, and a DAW. That's all you need. Actually, if I find the picture again, I will show you what I started with. And I think I have that picture somewhere. So what I used there is a very old CRT screen, a laptop that was like completely dead, unfolded completely to fit on the keyboard rack on my desktop. It was like a really crappy one. And the speakers I have there is just some hi-fi speaker I received for a birthday that I found a way to plug in on my computer. That's all I had at that time, and I started there. So if I started with that, you can probably start with whatever computer you have right now, because it's probably at least 100 times better than what I had at that time. The next thing I've seen a lot is like people on Reddit mostly say, I just finished my first track and I think it's crap. Well, let me tell you something, it is. Plain and simple. Because everybody's first track is crap. Same as the very first meal you will cook, it will be crap. Works the same way. Like I can give you the best tools and the best ingredients. If you do not know how to cook properly, you'll probably not cook something good. So you need some time, need some experience, need some more tracks to actually have something decent. So yeah, your first track is probably not gonna be good. And it's probably not good. Mine was not, at least. Yours is probably not either. Which leads me to the next point. Don't rework the same track over and over and over and over until it's perfect. Because that means that like maybe for 5 years you'll work on the same track again and again and again. With no new ideas, no new technique, no new view on the way of making music. You'll just be stuck in that loop. Just make a track, make it to the best level you have at that time, and then call it done. Stop with that one, start a new one, and try to improve and learn new stuff. Because it will open the way you think, open your creativity, also work on your creativity, and can be good for like not end up being stuck with just one project and nothing else on the side. Still related to your very first track. Don't try to release it because it's probably not worth it. But also don't try to release all of your tracks because some of them are not good enough or it's not worth it to release them. They might be better if you rework them like 2 years later. So maybe sometime if you feel like the track is not perfect, you can also leave it on the side and not release it. It's also an option. It's not lost. A track that is not released is not lost. You learned some stuff making that track, you had some ideas, you maybe learn like how to use a specific VST, learn new mixing technique. All this is not lost. The track might be, but not the knowledge while making the track. So you don't have to release all of your tracks. It can also be a bad move to release a bad track or a less good track on your project. Now I'll move for my next tip and the next couple of tips to a different part of the musical journey, which is feedbacks. Feedbacks are important, but I'll give you a couple of tips about them. The first one is like to not only ask feedback from your friends because they might not know anything about music making, they might not know anything about the genre you're producing, or they might just not want to hurt you or your feeling by saying something, well, maybe true, that can maybe make you feel unhappy. So don't only ask your friends and family and stuff. On the other hand, also don't only ask feedback from people that also make music, because while they will give you a technical feedback, chances are pretty high that your audience in the end are not music makers. So you can ask feedback like more on the stuff that people like for the general audience, like does that make you move? Do you want to listen to that in your car while going on holiday or something? I don't know. This is the kind of stuff you can learn from your family and friends. But is the track technically good or musically good? That's the kind of stuff you can ask to a musician. So don't only ask musician, but don't only ask also your family. You have to make a mix of both. Also, do not right away with your first couple of tracks go and reach for professionals and ask for their feedback. Because most likely they will either not be able to give you a proper feedback because what you send is sounding way too amateurish for them to actually be able to give you a proper advice, a proper tip, a proper feedback. And also, on the other hand, they might give you the right feedback, but you do not have all the knowledge to understand it fully. So make sure to give you some time to learn properly how to make the music, how your genre works, and then maybe ask one person to get their feedback and see if you understand everything about that feedback, if you get all the content of the feedback properly. And you'll see you will grow better doing it like this than just throwing every tracks at every professional you know to get some feedback, because you'll probably not be able to understand it fully. Also, when you receive a feedback, don't be defensive when you get it. Because you send your track to a professional and the guy tell you, okay, the mixdown is not good and the melody is not really good because it's missing this and that, and or maybe the structure of the melody is too random or all this stuff. And you get all defensive like, yeah, but this other guy says that he like my track. Yeah, but I really like it the way it is. Or yeah, that's not what I was aiming for. You ask for a feedback. A proper feedback is someone telling you what is not good in your track. That's the way it works. If something is good, they will also say it. But a proper feedback also contains some stuff to work on and some like technical or musical feedback. As I said, the melody is not good or the mixdown is not correctly done. Like these drums have too much low end, it's too muddy, it's too harsh on the ear, or nothing is clear, or it's too narrow in the space, or it's too wide, or it's drowned in reverb. All this stuff, whether you like it or not, you have to take it. Sometimes it hurts, but that's actual proper feedback. The person that is giving you the feedback most of the time is not there just to destroy your ego or anything, just to give you a feedback. Also something I want to pinpoint because it's something I've encountered quite a lot. When asking for a feedback, don't just send a link and nothing else. Because whether you like it or not, the person you'll ask a feedback from is a person. So the bare minimum is saying hello, is make it at least a little bit personal, because that person might take 15 minutes, half an hour maybe, to write down a proper feedback to you. So at least saying hello, make it feel a bit personal by just stating the person's name in your mail, in your message, and asking if they're open to give feedback. That's, the minimum you can do for that person to be willing to respond. Because I've seen some people not even bother writing a proper mail, where literally the content of the mail was in the object field of the mail. And that content was basically just a link to some SoundCloud or something. This goes right to the garbage. And if I see a message where I do not feel like it's been written for me, same, garbage. I want, if you ask me for my feedback, I want to at least feel like you took the time to take a template, I don't care, but at least you wrote my name on that template. So that I feel like you just didn't send that thing to half of the planet. And it works like this for most of the people you can ask a feedback from. The bare minimum is that, because where human beings will maybe take some time to answer your questions and give you proper feedback, the bare minimum is for you to take some proper time to actually write a mail for us. Side note here, if it's on a mail, of course, make it personal. If it's on the stream, don't just say, hello, can you give a feedback and send the link right away. If it's a stream, it's live. The person can read the message and tell you, okay, you can send it there or there or there. Or no, I will not give you any feedback today because I'm busy with that. But you can send it there and I might give it a look later on another stream or whatever. Ask for the person permission to send the link. Always best, because maybe it's not the point of the stream, or there is dedicated place where you can ask for feedback on his Discord. Most of the time that's how it works. You have a Discord, you can send the track for feedback. So just use human decency, I would say, bare minimum. Kind of related to feedbacks, because it's kind of a feedback on its own. Don't get all depressed or feel bad about your music because a label refused it. Labels are looking for some specific stuff. Music is one of them. They also look for people that will release enough through the year that seems to be reliable, that have music that is interesting for the audience, that can grow also in the future. Like if they feel like you already peaked, they might be less interested. So you have to show them also that you can improve. Don't just feel bad because they say no to the very one track you send them and they refuse it, because maybe they wanted more than just one track, or the project was not yet mature enough for the label itself. So don't just feel bad. Ask yourself the question, why did they refuse that? Because I say refuse. A label will never send you a message to tell you it's not good for us. They will just not respond. If a label does not respond, ask yourself the question, why didn't they respond to my mail? Or my submission, if they use a submission system. But think about that. I kind of already tackled that on the previous point, but don't think music is the only thing that matters for the label. A lot of other stuff matters, like your public image matters. That doesn't mean that you have to be a full-time influencer to actually reach a label, because quite frankly, I'm not. And still, we managed to find our way all the way up to Dirty Works with my friend as Aria. And we didn't post much on our socials. We're only posting very few stuff, but we didn't have a bad image on the scene, basically. Like, we didn't spam people to get them to listen to our demo, for instance, or we didn't have any drama with anyone on the scene. So don't think just the music is enough. You have to have a proper image and also bring something new to the scene. Just the music is not enough. Next point, or next couple of points, are a bit random. It's not linked to one subject in particular, but to me they are still important. The first one is maybe the most important, is don't forget to learn how your DAW works properly. What I mean is do not just learn how to lay out a couple of notes and put a couple of effects in your DAW, and that's basically it. A DAW offers way more than just that. So use all of the tools it has to make the best music you can with it, and learn how to use it properly, because if you learn how to use one DAW perfectly, you do not need to have 20 of them to actually be able to make good music. Any DAW can make good music. Some people might say, like, yeah, you absolutely need to use Studio One or Ableton Live to be able to make good music. That's not true. You just need to master your DAW. That's the only thing you need. Another one is don't spend all your time and money for music, because sometimes your brain also needs some time out. Sometimes it's good to just, like, instead of being on your computer making music, go out, get some fresh ideas, get some fresh air. If you have $5 left at the end of the month and you're torn between spending this $5 to sponsor a post on Facebook or go to the movie theater, maybe go to the movie theater can be good for your mental health. So go for that. Kind of linked to this one, do not spend all your time, more precisely. Music making is a journey, it takes time. There are some stuff that you cannot squeeze, and time is one of them. It takes time to train your ear properly. The best example I can give is, like, it's not the same training your ears for 10 hours a day for 1 year and training your ear for 1 hour a day for 10 years. One of the two will destroy your ear quite quickly. The other one will actually be okay or efficient. You'll actually have time to train. Obviously, training your ear an hour a day for 10 years is better than trying to squeeze it in 1 year, because that's not how it works. Also, another one that is quite important, especially to me, because that's kind of the way I learned. Leave some room for mistakes and failure, because I've had a lot of them and I've learned a lot of them. But basically, you never really fail, you just learn some stuff. When you win all the time, you do not learn how to handle a defeat, how to handle failure, how to handle bad times in music making. So sometimes, yeah, you have to leave some room for failure. Another random one that I've seen quite often lately, at least, is don't just use pre-made sound. What I mean by that is it's okay to use a preset, it's okay to use a sample, it's okay to use anything that exists on the internet. But instead of just using them, try to understand how these sounds and samples work, how they were made, what they use is as a base, and all this stuff, because then you will be able to recreate these and even way more sound and be more accurate when you want to create new sound. And you'll also understand way better how the sound works. So instead of just using the preset or just using the samples, try to recreate them, try to understand how they work. It's way better for your knowledge on the long run. Another one is don't listen to your music only on your main music making setup. Listen to it on your phone, just using the phone speaker, or in your car, or on your laptop speakers, or on the Bluetooth speakers, or whatever you have. Try it on different hardware to see just how it sounds in all this different stuff. Because you might see that it sounds good in your studio setup, but in the car it's missing something, or in headphones it's missing something. So try it on different sources and devices. And the last one I would like to give is don't blindly follow the tip pages and the tip lists. This includes this video, obviously, but don't blindly follow them. If you want to, if you're not okay with one of the stuff I listed, you're okay to try do it differently and see what it gives you. Maybe it works for you, but especially tip pages tends to have this fake / meritocracy kind of vision of music, while music making and musical journey is not all about deserving a spot on the scene or anything. It's a matter of luck, and that's basically it. Of course, talent or hard work can help have that luck, but it's not the only thing that will matter. Some people will work way more than others in the studio and not reach a big level, while the other one might reach it. So don't just follow like tips pages. I have a couple of one that just say, yeah, you have to do this, 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 and that, and you'll reach a big label, because that's not how this works. It's not all about. It's not an exact science. You need to work on your music, of course. You have to give it your best, but that does not guarantee that you will have a spot on the scene or that you will make it on a label. Not true. And actually, that's something I try to go against most of the time, like saying you have to do this, this, and that to have that result, because that's not the case. Most of the time, I do stuff a different way than whatever other people say. Like, if you want to make that kind of synth, that's the way I would do it. That's not the way you have to do it. That's the way I do it. Maybe you can try it and it will work better for you. My approach about all this is, like, there is not one way to make it to the scene, because it's kind of luck-based. Before I close off everything, just a couple of small additions that was provided by a friend. Don't forget to often save, and save with new version, because maybe at some point the project will crash, or you will make a big mistake and you will lose the good stuff you had before. So make some saves quite often, and different version, like do not overwrite the same file over and over again. If you're on FL Studio, I would advise turning the automatic backup every 5 minutes and every time you do a risky operation, which means like opening or closing or deleting a VST or all this kind of stuff. It will always create a new backup, and crank the number of backup up, because I think by default it's 20. Crank it up to like 100 most of the time. It's okay. You'll have enough space for that. Another one is don't buy pro training right away. It's not me that says that, but I kind of agree with that. Don't buy pro training right away. Learn properly how to make music first, and then buy the training to understand a bit better some really small stuff about your music making process that is not correct, maybe. To be honest, I only bought my first pro training like maybe a year ago. And while I knew most of the stuff that was said in the training could be considered like a waste of money, it's not, because I also learned that, okay, the way I approach that thing is the same as what that other person is doing, so I'm kind of not on the right path. But also I could find some really small improvement I could do in my process. So you do not have to buy pro training, especially nowadays. You have like shit tons of tutorial on the internet, on YouTube. My channel is an example of that. You have some tutorials for a lot of stuff. So go for these first, and maybe later on your journey, see if you can find some new resources, having some pro trainings, because it's sometimes, and I would even say often, way too technical or way too precise to actually be useful when you're just starting. And the last one he also provided is like, don't forget to listen with fresh ears. Meaning, if you're like me, producing on headphones most of the time, your ears get tired quite quickly. So don't forget to sometimes just take the headphones off and stop for like half an hour, 2 hours or something. Just let your ears rest and give it a fresh listen later. Anyway, thanks for joining for this video. I hope you learned some new stuff. Don't forget to share your experience and or your tips also in the comment section. And again, you can find me on Twitch every Saturday, 11 AM CET. The link is in the description or there on the screen. So yeah, find me there, and we can share some more experience also while live, and you can ask a lot of questions, request some tutorials and all this stuff. So join me there, and yeah, I'll leave you here. See you next time. Take care. Bye.